Hey, Real Nerds. There's many ways to enjoy the Real Nerds podcast. You can listen to us on Stitcher, iTunes, and now Spotify and iHeartRadio. You can see what we're up to around town by following us at Real Nerds on Instagram. And if you want to send us your thoughts, you can email us at realnerds@gmail.com or call us at 720-6nerds5. Like us on Facebook at Real Nerds Podcast or tweet us at Real Nerds. And now on with the show.
This is Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast, possibly, of Denver Expo, Fan Expo, the new name of Denver Comic-Con / Denver Pop Culture Con. But you can always go on to popcultureclassroom.org to help that charity and see what they're doing around town with a lot of things. Every week on Real Nerds Podcast, we see a new movie and we podcast our experience to the world. This week, we saw Zack Snyder's Justice League. Stay tuned to the end of the episode where we will tell you should see the film, play the trailer, and then spoil it. Yes, an actual movie that has spoilers because it's a comic book movie and it's epic. With me most weeks is Zack and Brad.
Zack, you're muted. And Corinne's muted. Come on, guys.
And Corinne.
I'm here.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi. I'm alive.
I feel like I'm talking to myself. Gee, many Christmas.
Ryan, maybe you are. What if we're not real?
Oh my gosh, is this the Matrix?
No.
Like,
This is a ghost
I'm not
story.
even, like, really here.
That's my really shitty Keanu Reeves.
Checking in, Ryan. But you've always lived here.
We also talk about movie news, Blu-rays that are coming out, general movie musings. We're a movie podcast. We've been doing it for 10 years.
General Movie Musings is my favorite member of the commanders of the armed forces. You know, a great general. That's a great job.
Yeah. Wow, lots of energy going right now.
Come on, guys. This is the Justice League episode. Let's get it together.
Well, I mean, I think Ryan should pimp the fact that we're going to have like our 10th anniversary special here in like, what, 2 months? A month and a half?
Yeah, it's getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We're
Where we
gonna
will all
duke
pick
it out.
our
Head to head.
list of 100 favorite films, and we will debate which films will make it into the top 100 films of our existence.
I don't want to even try for my choices. Can't I just be the moderator of this debate?
I mean, sure, it'll make it easier to do.
100.
It's not about ease and comfort. It's more just like I know that I'm going to lose the argument every time. So I'd just rather be the moderator.
You can also check our Twitter and our Facebook for Corinne's Movie Madness 2021 edition, where you will be able to vote on what Disney movie you prefer on a list we generated against ourselves, which I think is really weird.
And it's futile because she wants Beauty and the Beast to win no matter what, so...
Yeah. Oh, it won't. I'll make sure that Pinocchio fucking wins this motherfucker.
Well, that's for the listeners and the fans to decide.
I mean...
That's why I chose The Little Mermaid, just to skew the results.
Fuck yeah.
So mean.
Fuck it. Maybe some people think The Little Mermaid's a better film. Who knows?
I mean, it's not a bad film by any means, but come on. Beauty and the Beast. How do you vote against that?
Excuse me, Corinne. Does it have a toad who rides a motor car?
No, but
we
haven't made it to your bracket yet, Zach.
Hey, Ryan, tally-ho! Tally-ho!
Hey, every girl wants Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Oh, we're on our way to Nottingham, to Wickingham, to Wickingham.
Gosh.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Hey, Brad, can't people see your short films soon online in a short film festival?
They can. Next weekend, depending on when this episode goes up, it'll be March 26th-ish. You can go to the Colorado Shorts Circuit Film Festival, and they're going to be screening a bunch of films, not even just from Colorado, kind of from all over. It's a bit of an international film festival. Most of them are from Colorado, and yeah, mine will be in there. So
Very cool.
tickets are on sale. I don't have the address on me right now.
But
I'll
just
have to look it
know
up.
you can get them.
1234 South Place Street.
Here, I'm going to pretend that I am just an average citizen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to type Colorado Short Circuit Film Festival into the Google search bar. And it was that easy. It's the first thing that came up. So,
Nice.
Colorado Short Circuit Indie Spirit Film Festival. I didn't even need to know the address, but it's indiespiritfilmfestival.org. And that's your direct access to getting your tickets and then watching all those films virtually throughout the day of next weekend, March 26th, 27th, and 28th.
So do it up, people.
Yes.
And you can also go to Zack's separate podcast and listen to his panel that he did with the one and only Leonard Maltin.
You can do that. It's the audio version, which thankfully the visual components wasn't overflowing, so you're not missing much yet. But eventually, I will release the video. Until then, enjoy the audio version.
And where can they find that, Zack?
They can find it at ballyhooreviewpodcast.com or at Yesteryear Ballyhoo Review on your podcatchers. Wherever you get your podcasts, Ballyhoo will be there.
See, when I give you an opportunity to promote your shit, know where it's at. Amateur 1, Amateur 2. Fuck.
Here, Brian, here's the problem. I was eating a Lucky Charms cookie from Crumble, and that's delicious.
So you're blaming leprechauns? God.
What did the Irish ever do to you? Golly.
They technically helped create me. That's what I have against them. No, I love the Irish.
Let's hike to the top of the Hollywood sign and see what's happening in movie news.
It's real news. Wait, is that how we find out about Hollywood news? We have to just hike up to the Hollywood sign?
Yeah, you climb up the H and you look down on the town below.
Okay, I've been using the internet.
Live from Hollywood Land.
Pretty sure it's illegal to do that, Ryan. I don't think a cop should be encouraging crime.
Corinne, stop. It's Hollywood. Rules don't apply.
It's interesting that you brought that up because Warner Brothers has abandoned its plan to build an aerial tram to the Hollywood sign.
You like how I do that segue? I didn't know you were going to do that story.
Yeah, you blew my mind because it was
Nice.
a deep cut that I pulled up and you nailed it. And
nice.
I think a guest has just signed in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's
Hello,
Jesse.
Jesse.
Hey, I'm back.
Nice.
Welcome back. We just started the show. So Jesse is our Superman fan superstar. I don't know how to say it, but you're a go-to guy for Superman. So we're glad you're on this episode with us.
That's right. Yeah, people ask me all sorts of strange and dumb questions about Superman.
This is your first appearance since the Man of Steel episode, like 8 years ago.
That is correct. That's right. You did have me on for that, so this is very fitting.
Yeah, and we also had you as our lead snob in the Real Nerds Pod Show episode, where we go against the other real nerds. So,
yeah, it's funny. I had kind of forgotten about that, and I recently showed it to a friend of mine, and he was very much like surprised. He's like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Like, yeah, sometimes I'm in Brad's videos.
He's like, why would you do this to yourself?
Yeah, kind of. He was like, you should probably see if they can take that down. Once you put stuff out on the internet, Jesse, it's forever. Don't you know this?
Why is someone
trying to get a job?
Someone's flagging my YouTube video constantly. So
Pleasure to have you on, Jesse. We're just digging into movie news.
Well, thank you.
So like I said, the Warner Brothers was planning on doing some kind of touristy gondola that takes you to the Hollywood sign, and I guess they're not going to do that now because it would be expensive, and people are isolating still, so not a great move currently, and I'm fine with it because I've been there. I don't think that'd be a cool thing to do.
I mean, it'd be interesting, but one, we're living in a different world with it, and number two, if they've got the money to build a tram or a gondola, maybe they can, I don't know, help out movie theaters. Just saying.
Yeah. Or pay their employees more.
Yeah. How about that? Don't need a gondola. You need better health care.
Plus, too, like, they already have enough problems with people vandalizing the sign. So,
yeah.
like, just inviting more people to get there easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Just wait till I get there. I'm going to turn it sideways. Then you'll never know what town you're in. Because the H will be sideways, you see. It'll be like Hollywood. That's not a real place.
So it looks like there's a Zatanna movie coming, and it's going to be written by promising young woman director Emerald Fennell.
Ah, Ryan, can you explain to the audience Zatanna?
She is a powerful sorceress.
Her dad is Zatara. He's like a member of the Justice League, and she's been a member of the Justice League. She's pretty cool. She also is, she's like been Batman's love interest at different points, I think. But she's also pretty cool on her own merit.
I don't remember that, but I do know that she's a very powerful sorceress in the DC. She's kind of their Doctor Strange. She's their go-to for the super.
I'd say Dr. Fate is more like Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I was just going to say Dr. Fate is more like DC's Doctor Strange. Zatanna's probably closer to like the Scarlet Witch.
Sure, but Dr. Fate is really old.
Well, it's a different person every time. It's just whoever's wearing the helmet of Naboo.
Mm-hmm.
DC's stupid. Anyways.
Way to open up the borders of friendship, Ryan, by trashing the universe we're about to talk about today immediately.
Who cares? Might trash it when we do the review.
Okay.
Speaking of DC, the next bit of news is that DC, or more importantly, Warner Brothers, Warner Media, has announced that the Snyderverse is officially over, and there will be no more Snyder movies or the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. So,
yeah, it should be the interview with the executive.
Until they need money.
No, she says, nope, we're done.
Which I think is short-sighted, but what are you going to do?
I don't know. I read
they said that before when people were like, release the Snyder cut, and they're like, we can't, it doesn't exist. We can't, it would cost too much money. And then enough people complained, and they were like, okay, fine, we'll do it.
Yeah. At this point, the bigger problem is that some of the actors don't want to come back anymore.
Yeah, Ben Affleck's kind of done with it. We'll talk about this, and I'm assuming one of the shots that I saw was filmed during quarantine because he does not look the same as how he did in the original cut. But I think he's pretty much done with it, and I can't imagine Ray Fisher's returning under any circumstances.
Well, I mean, he's in the Flash movie, so he's not totally done.
He was offered it. I didn't realize he accepted it, given the fact that of what he's fighting against with Warner Brothers. But
no, Ben Affleck.
Oh, Ben Affleck. Oh, that's right. Ben Affleck is in the Flash movie. Okay, then never mind. He's not done with it.
No,
and Ray Fisher Cavill is out because they recast, they cast a new Superman. So he's kind of like, yeah, I'm not supporting any of this. So
yeah, Cavill's got the Witcher thing going on now, so he's okay. He's got things to do.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Jesse, he'll be fine.
There's always gonna be roles in Hollywood for, tall, muscular, attractive men. So he'll be fine.
Like playing Sherlock Holmes again and Enola Holmes too. That's what we need him for the most. That's what we need him for right now. Yeah,
we need the world's greatest detective to be cucked by his younger sister that doesn't technically exist.
But it's fun, Jesse, and she solves mysteries, and it's a fun time.
That movie's okay.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
It's just very okay. Yeah,
yes.
It's good for a watch.
Yes, I agree with Jesse.
Speaking of DC characters not returning, there seems to be a chance that Michael Keaton is not going to be in this Flash movie. Apparently, COVID restrictions are making it difficult for him to maybe do his job, and we'll see how that goes. I'm surprised that he just isn't a lock already.
Why don't they get George Clooney?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or Val Kilmer.
No, Val Kilmer's going through some health issues.
Why not dig up Adam West while we're at it?
Yeah.
Dude, oh, please do. I want the zombie of Adam West to be in Flashpoint.
You know who we need? Kevin Conroy.
Oh.
He got to play Bruce Wayne in the CW Crisis event.
But Ryan. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not Ryan. You're Brad. Brad, what if we just, put him in there anyway?
Sure. I guess I'm the executive of Warner Brothers now. Let's just do whatever we want.
Yes, you are. Also, find a way to make Mark Hamill the Joker, like an aged Joker who's like completely lost it.
And give me a Martian Manhunter movie, gosh darn it.
No, we're not doing that.
Yes, we are doing that. I am the captain now.
You can always just get Will Friedle to be Batman.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm down.
Or Will Arnett.
I'm sure not everyone got that.
Yeah.
No, from Batman Beyond, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking Will Arnett too now, Corinne, now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, he's Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last thing is a death. Yaphet Kotto died.
Yeah.
You may not know the name, but I'm sure if you have seen him in Alien and what was the other big one? I totally forgot.
It's not a big one, but Ryan and I would know him from Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare.
Right.
The Running Man.
Running Man, yeah.
He's got a huge list of TV and movie credits. So, but I think among nerds, his role in Alien is probably the most memorable. So,
yeah. He's in a lot of films.
Although I don't remember the character. Oh, Parker. That's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah. So
he was a sturdy character actor for years. He did a film with Rudy Ray Moore, the subject of Dolomite Is My Name. I'm trying to remember the name of it though.
He's one of those guys who's in everything, and you really like him in everything he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He even came back to voice his character in Alien Isolation, the video game. So
there you go. Solid cat.
Yeah, I know NECA just produced a figure of him recently. They were able to get his likeness rights, so
nice.
At least he's immortalized in plastic forever.
Yeah, they had like a huge 40th anniversary Alien release, a bunch of stuff. So, yeah. So that's news for this week.
Movies come out on Blu-ray, and sometimes we get them.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
Is Blu-ray like an antiquated form of cloud storage? I don't understand.
Yeah, we here at the Real Nerds, we still indulge in physical media because
this is Jesse. It's the hill we've all decided to die on. I know it seems silly, but it means so much to us.
Yeah. So I think this is when, because I was very much the same. I don't know why, but for some reason it was very easy for me to digitize my music and sell my CDs. And for the longest time, I held on to all my DVDs and Blu-ray. And I remember one night I was looking for a movie on Netflix that I knew they had it, and it must have just come down, and it wasn't on Netflix. And I owned the movie, and I just remember looking over at my shelf and seeing the movie on the shelf and just being like, well, but then I'd have to get up and I'd have to put it in the PlayStation 4 and I'd have to turn off the game that I'm playing on the PlayStation. The whole thing was just so much effort that I was just like, oh, I really wish this was just available streaming or something. And I think that's when it broke my brain. And then I ended up getting rid of all of my DVDs and most of my Blu-rays and stuff. So.
Yeah, I can't stand the thought of the studios deciding which ones I can watch. I just don't understand why they can't be up all the time. I don't know why they have to curate them constantly.
Contracts, my man. Contracts.
I know. I don't want to be holding to that. I want to just look over at my shelf and be like, oh, God, I got to stand up and walk over there and get it. And this is still way better than not having it. Yeah. No, I get it. Sometimes I look over and they're like, God, I could just fit so many other things in that space. But
that's my thing too. Is like I literally do not have the space for all of the DVDs and Blu-rays that I would like to have. So
yeah,
I'll just let them bury me. Just have to swim
just
through
gonna be buried with them.
Yeah, exactly. Or like even when I'm living right now, like I'll crawl inside of them to go to sleep, and then I'll crawl out of them to get to work.
They're like your tauntaun, as it were.
Exactly. Yes, it's like a.
They probably
tauntaun.
smell a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. It just smells like used plastic and sadness. That's all.
So actual releases this week, I totally forgot. Part of news was that it kind of merges into both. Is they're releasing the Indiana Jones trilogy, or I guess saga on 4K.
So you were right the first time.
I don't want to falsely advertise that you're only getting 3 movies in this deal. You will be getting the 4 no matter what you want to do. There is no plans to do
you're
single.
only getting 3 movies.
Brad, you get it from the store. You go home, you open it up. Oh boy, 3 perfect movies. Wait, what's this extra? What? Oh no.
That's right. You're getting 3 movies and a fanfic film. So
you're getting a promo disc for a fan fiction film.
That's mean.
I don't think King of the Crystal Skull is that bad.
It's not that bad. I've come around on it. It's not perfect.
Yeah, I've seen worse movies.
it was so bad Shia LaBeouf was in it. I mean, that tells you pretty much all you need to know.
I'm glad.
Although I will say he wasn't in the worst of the Transformers movies, so there's that.
Yeah. Boy.
Yeah, and there should be a steelbook version at Best Buy and a regular edition. No, doesn't seem to be any plans to release them separately, so you will have to purchase all 4 if you want to get the 3 that you really want. Mm-hmm. That's in the future, probably August. But right now, News of the World comes out this week on Blu-ray 4K. The 2014 Godzilla has a 4K release.
Sweet.
Gattaca has a steelbook 4K release.
Really?
Yep. And Friday the 13th Part 2 has a 40th anniversary steelbook release. But I mean, if you had the Shout Factory edition, I'm not sure.
Well, Ryan, was the Scream Factory one a super limited thing? I can't remember.
I mean, it's a limited edition.
But they're not going to do like a standard version like they did with Halloween, are they?
I don't think so. No, I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it.
Okay.
Looks like Jesse dropped off again. So.
Oh no.
No, he's back. Okay. Yeah.
Jesse's like Superman. He came back.
It's just like, wait a minute. Everyone got really quiet.
Also from Scream Factory, Event Horizon has a collector's edition on Blu-ray.
Ryan, can we do a commentary on that?
I'd have to watch it again. I haven't seen it in a long time. I'm
going to pick it up. You pick it up. We'll watch it. I want to do a commentary on Event Horizon. That sounds like fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
The movie is a horror masterpiece. Like, it's just so good.
I remember it being better than I initially thought it would going in. So I was like, it's like a pleasant surprise of a movie.
It kind of came out in that era where there was a lot of other movies that were like, it's horror in space. And so it just kind of got lumped into that. But it really, like, if you sit down and watch it, it stands on its own. Yeah. It's really like the precursor for a lot of things like the games like Dead Space, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Criterion Collection has a Wong Kar-wai collection coming out. There's a re-release of, I forget what year, but it's like a French cannibal movie, I guess, called Raw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you see that, Brad?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, yeah.
What else here? We got some Miyazaki steelbooks coming out for The Cat Returns, Whisper of the Heart, and I think that's it.
The Cat Returns is not a Miyazaki film, Brad.
Studio Ghibli film, sorry. whatever.
Yeah, and he only wrote Whispers of the Heart. He didn't direct it.
So,
Corinne,
so
it's
still
part
technically
of
one of his films, then.
I mean, yeah, he wrote it. It's like Quentin Tarantino wrote True Romance. We still kind of consider it a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, but Cat Returns is definitely not a Miyazaki film.
But it's Ghibli. It's got the same heart and spirit of it, doesn't it? I don't know.
It's a Scream Factory release of these Ghibli films, and yeah, they all have that like shiny steelbook single image thing going on. So yeah.
They look nice.
Yeah. I just can't justify buying them. If it was a 4K, maybe, but yeah, it's tough to, like, I already bought them a bunch of times. Speaking of steelbooks, Rad has a steelbook from Mondo with some sweet art on it. But yeah, Arrow had their big release last year, so I guess you're really just getting this for the cool steelbook.
Yeah, and the Arrow one sold out so fast. I think I was reading that's why they're releasing that one. It's more of a standard version because the Arrow one sold out in a couple days.
Yeah, with all those cool bonus features and stuff. So yeah, like the Mondo art is great on it. So if you didn't get the Arrow one, this is a cool one to pick up. The Legend of Korra has a complete series Blu-ray set.
Right on.
Coming out.
Excellent show. Everybody should go check it out.
There's a new release, Don't Tell a Soul, which is like, what's his name? Dwight Schrute trapped in a hole.
Rainn Wilson?
Rainn Wilson, yeah.
You mean the rocker?
Yes. Or one of the aliens from Galaxy Quest. Whatever.
You mean the guy who got turned into the fish boy in House of a Thousand Corpses?
Look at you, knowing so much about his career.
I know. I full disclosure. Apart from rewatching The Office constantly, I'm a huge Rainn Wilson fan. Just his film career. He's a cool guy.
Actually, are these March 16th? Is this site not updated? Oh yeah, we didn't do Blu-ray releases last week because we did
Film Explosion,
yeah,
1981.
Well,
so some of these are already out.
Blu-ray.com's a more up-to-date site if that's not what you're on.
No, that is actually what I'm on. It has new Blu-ray releases and then upcoming, and then like it hasn't moved the upcoming to new. So it's
I just go to the release date section and then it breaks it down week by week.
Yeah, I should have stuck with digital bits. This is too confusing. Yeah, so like last week we also missed Promising Young Woman and Psycho Goreman. My Hunky Boys edition of Psycho Goreman has not arrived yet, even though it came out last week. So
I still love that's the name of the.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That movie looks like it's going to be fun. I want to check it out.
It is fun, Jesse. You will have a fun time.
Yeah, if you like stupid like monster comedies.
I do. I like stupid everything. So
actually, if you're a Power Rangers fan, so the Psycho Goreman is very Power Rangers-y.
There's a lot of rubber costumes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Jesse, your quota will be overfilled.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting the future of humanity to teenagers.
Sort of. A little younger.
Question mark? Yeah. I mean,
no, I've seen the trailer. I mean, I know kind of what it's about from the trailer, but it does look fun. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and the last thing I guess is Soul is also getting an actual physical 4K release. So
yeah.
If you don't want to wait if you're not subscribed to Disney Plus, you can run out and grab it.
Yeah, Disney seems to still release physical stuff because their physical releases still sell really well.
Mm-hmm. Because not everybody can afford their service, but sometimes people can afford one of their discs every so often. So, yeah.
Well, and plus, like this week, Disney Plus went up $1.
I know. I got like 4 alerts constantly about it. It's just like when Netflix goes up, you're like, whatever.
Even if you like, I remember when they were first pitching it, they had that lifetime price, right? Or was that? Am I wrong with that?
I don't recall that being a thing. I just knew that based on, like their other competitors and what they had, I was like, this price is only going to be here until they start putting out more original content, and then we're going to see it go up. And sure enough, it's like, hey, this week it's the release of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and also we're raising your price $1. I'm like, of course you are, because now you're finally getting stuff that's interesting to watch.
Yeah, I could have sworn like early on, like the early adopters, there was like a D23 special where like
I think you're right, Brad. I think you had to pre-order it in the first month or something.
Yeah.
That pre-orders were live. Yeah,
I don't remember that for Disney Plus. I remember that HBO Max had something kind of like that, where you could, like, if you pre-ordered it, you could get in at like an entry level price for, I think like a year or something like that. But I get HBO Max for free, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I might have mixed them up. But yeah, that's Blu-rays for this week.
We watch films and sometimes TV shows throughout the week in a segment I call What We've Been Watching.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Jesse, feel free to jump in if you want to. I don't know if you've watched anything this week or want to talk about it. I can start with somebody else, and then if you want, you can jump in.
Yeah, no, I'll go. So,
cool.
I don't watch a lot of TV in general, but I'm still really loving Snowpiercer on TNT. It's still like a really great, like, original show. I remember when they first, for the first season touted it, I was like, well, I liked the movie, so we'll check it out. And the series has just been, its own thing. It's like the David S. Pumpkins of TV spin-offs from a movie. And it just continues to be really good TV. I'm still watching American Gods. I'm about a week behind. And this season hasn't been great. Like, I feel like every episode I'm kind of like, well, this is weird, and I'm hoping that it pans out. Like, sometimes you just gotta, like, get on that train and ride it. And then,
I feel that way about a lot of Neil Gaiman stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and this one's already going so far off the rails from his original book that it's got its own legs and it's running. But, I'm trying to trust in the system. And then other than that, John Oliver's show came back on, and he's pretty funny. I like watching.
Yeah, he's been
Last Week Tonight.
Yeah. Show's been.
He's been on
more
point
or less
the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean it's been very to the left, I would say. I mean, the show always kind of veers that way, but really, like, since they came back after everything, it's like it made a hard left. But it's always good for a watch. It's always interesting to see, differing points of view, and there's a lot of education involved where you're like, oh, I did not know that that's how, like, that was done within, like, either like politics or science. Like, this week's was about plastics and recycling, and that was really interesting to watch, because I feel like we live in a world where we're constantly told, like, plastics are great, you can recycle all plastics, and really, like, you can't. Like, there's like 10% of plastics that you can recycle. So that's kind of which I knew there must have been something going on with plastics, because Hasbro recently announced that they were going to go to plasticless boxes for the figures. It's like when you go into the store, instead of, like, seeing the typical blister pack where you're like, oh, there's Iron Man in the box, it would just be like a cardboard box that would have a picture of Iron Man. And all I could think was, how do I know that I'm actually buying what's in that box, and that some a-hole didn't come in and like buy it, take it home, steal Iron Man, and then just put, like, some rocks in there and return it.
I mean, to be fair, you could say that about anything, like a blender or a crock pot or whatever.
Jesse, you could, but it is a big problem, especially, like, in the past year, with collectible action figures, people buying stuff and swapping the figure out with basically garbage and returning it.
Even with the clear window, like you
Yeah,
could see that it's the wrong
with
figure.
The clear window. Yeah, but the people that work in the stores, like, they don't care as long as something's in there. But like, I, as the consumer, know when I go to the store, I'm like, well, that's not Iron Man. That's just garbage.
I saw.
Whereas like now, you'll never know. You'll never know until you get it at home.
Or even if they like put it together right in the factory, like, you can get an Iron Man home and he's got two left hands or something.
Yeah, or like really dirty paint. Just I think it's a bad beat.
I'm just thinking back to when you said that somebody just puts rocks in there, Jesse, and I just wondered, like, if Charlie Brown gets that for Christmas, does he just kind of lose his shit at this point? Because he's not only getting rocks at Halloween, he's getting rocks every single day of his life.
That's right. So there was a big story that happened, and now because of it, like, Target doesn't accept returns on like Pokemon cards, where someone or some groups of people were buying like the whole, box of Pokemon cards. And then they would take it home and they would empty all the cards out and they would fill the box back up with essentially garbage that was, so it had a weight to it. And then they had a shrink wrap machine and they would reshrink it and return it to Target.
But is this in the heyday of Pokemon cards, or is this today?
No, this is right now.
What?
Now. Yeah. So here's something you guys probably don't know, but like in the past year, because people can't like go on vacations or leave their houses or do anything of meaning, people have started collecting things again. Like they've started, buying action figures, buying, high price sneakers. And for some reason, like basketball cards and Pokemon cards are like through the roof. Like the value has just like gone bananas. People are buying them up. Stores are limiting how many people can buy. People are getting into fights in the stores over them, like fist fights.
Wow. Well, shit. I need to go to my parents' house and dig out my old Pokemon cards.
Corinne, you could have a fortune.
You could, honestly. Like, I'm not making this up. You could be sitting on a fortune. I'm not making that up. Yeah, people are just like nuts for them. So like McDonald's, and I only know this because I have a 2-year-old, but McDonald's had a promotion recently where in the Happy Meals, because it was like the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, and so they were giving out like little packs of Pokemon cards, and people were like buying the entire like case out the back of like a McDonald's. So then like when you go to McDonald's, they were just like, yeah, we don't have any Happy Meal toys. Because someone bought all of our Pokemon cards.
Jesse, there's a special place in hell for idiots like that who are buying cases of the McDonald's toys out the back.
Yeah, I didn't know you could just go and ask for the toy. You don't even have to buy the Happy Meal.
Yeah, they charge you like $1 or something for the toy. You can just buy Happy Meal toys. You don't have to buy the meal. But I guess because it was becoming such a thing, McDonald's had to change it where they were like, yeah, you have to buy a Happy Meal. And then even at that, they were putting, like, if you didn't have children with you, they were putting limits on how many Happy Meals you could buy.
But it needs to be like the reverse of carding people for alcohol or something like that in order to get them to not do this shit.
Yeah, I don't know. The world has just gone mad, but that's if you're not in the know, these are things that are happening around you. So
I guess to be fair, Jesse, you've got to catch them all, right?
Someone's got to catch them all. I don't know, not me.
I don't want to be the very best.
I gave all of the ones that I'd gotten from Happy Meals away to some guy in a local group, and he was very thankful. And yeah, I didn't like mean to, but I kind of like took a dig at him where I was like, well, my daughter's 2, so she's a little too young for Pokemon, and I'm 40, so I'm a little too old for Pokemon. And like this dude was like clearly like 40, if not older, and just the look on his face where he was like, I'm angry. You're giving me free cards, but I don't like what you just said. There was just a lot of emotions he had going on.
Oh, he kept his mouth shut, right, Jesse?
He did, yeah. He didn't
Okay,
say
good.
anything. He had the look of like, like the.
I'm so close to the end of the sale.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like, he's giving them to me for free. I'm just gonna take it.
You can see tiny sweat beads coming out of his forehead, going like, "Don't say anything."
Yeah, he's just dripping sweat. It's just running down.
I want to unleash my Charizard right now, and I can't.
But
Cool.
But yeah, I got us like way off topic. But yeah, other than that, I watched the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I've been watching the WandaVision. So I also watched, which was very uncharacteristic for me, but I love the live action movies. I watched the boy, I'm blanking on it. Something the Black. It's on Netflix. It's the Pacific Rim the Black. That anime series that they did on Netflix.
Oh, baller!
And it's very anime. It's kind of funny to see like a series that was like an Americanization of anime that has been now animeized kind of a thing where
it brought back to its roots. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, I love Pacific Rim. I'll check this out. And I watched it and I was like, this is very like Pacific Rim, like Evangelion again,
I mean, Corinne, it might be up your alley then.
I've never heard of this. I might have to check it out. But I've never seen Pacific Rim the movie, so I might be lost.
No, it does. It has like a really quick like recap at the beginning. I mean, like the movies aren't like super in depth. Like it's basically like monsters came out of the sea, so we created giant robots to fight monsters, and you're like, that's it. That's the story. Giant robots fighting giant monsters.
Throw a rock and you'll hit an anime based on that.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it was good for a watch. It was interesting. I was able to fly through it really fast, so I checked that out. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Not too much else. I watched a lot of YouTube.
Right on. Go. Sorry, Brad.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna kick it to you. See what you've been watching.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Let's see. Just trying to bring up my Letterboxd. Yeah, I after I watched that reaction video to the Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, I've been kind of waiting to maybe see it again in the theater, like through a private screening, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna watch it because I haven't actually maybe watched them in a year or so, and it was great, like watching them back to back for the first time. I think I've ever like cleanly done that without like taking a break. And like they're just so much fun, like seeing things connect from one movie to another really quickly. It was great. And it really kind of like provided an interesting contrast for what we're going to talk about later. Then the other two things I watched were How'd This Get Made did a review of a movie called The Talking Cat, which is like
never heard of it.
Yeah, it's some really low budget, like The Room level kind of hobbyist film, I guess, about a talking cat that's apparently voiced by Eric Roberts, who decided to do all of his VO on his iPhone and send it in. It looks like it sounds like he did the read in like 10 minutes for all of his lines and then just sent the file. But yeah,
Eric Roberts cannot be bothered with acting.
He's the only name that you'll know from this movie. The rest is all fresh faces. But there's this cat, and it wanders through this. I guess I can't tell like where they are because some of the exteriors are like a mansion in California, and then sometimes there's like stock footage of a beach in Costa Rica, and then the other house in the movie is like looks like it's in Oregon. So yeah, I'm not really sure where it exactly takes place, but the cat wanders into the life of this guy who works for a tech company, and he decides to retire, and his son is tutoring this other girl. And he's struggling with what to do with his free time. And then meanwhile, there's this other family in the cabin that looks like it's in Oregon, and the mom has twin son and daughter. The daughter's trying to become like a tech billionaire, and the son is just trying to figure out what to do with his life. And she's trying to have a catering company work out. And the cat wanders between both these two lives, trying to like get them to come together and be a part of each other's lives. And yeah, the cat has like an animated mouth that, like, if you did it in After Effects and just like put like a black circle and stretch it a bunch, like that's how he talks. And he only talks to like people once. That's his rule. Like he'll actually vocalize, like he's always talking to the audience, but he'll talk to the characters one time. And, you know, it's never anything super helpful. It's just him. He says something to them one time, and that's it. And then he's not allowed to talk to them ever again. And it's insane and just shot horribly. And yeah, luckily there was a Riff Tracks version of it too. So I watched that afterwards and they made fun of it, which was a lot of fun. And then the Riff Tracks version led me to Roller Gator, which is another terrible short film that has at least one famous person, Joe Estevez, in it. And there's a puppet alligator that lives in the sewers, and a roller skater girl finds him and helps him escape the carnival that he's employed to. And yeah. Should I keep going for you guys? Does this sound interesting?
I mean, there was already one perfect talking cat movie, and it was called Garfield. So
yeah, yeah. This one, isn't obsessed with Mondays or lasagna. So I feel like I stretched a bit. Yeah, that's all I watched. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I think we'll get to that with more people.
Zach?
Not a whole lot, even in between our film explosions and such. I rewatched The Blob and Godzilla for a recording. I hadn't watched The Blob with Steve McQueen in a while, and I forgot how old Steve McQueen is in that movie and what he's supposed to be playing. He's like 30 as an actor, and he's supposed to be playing like 15 or 16. So it's very, very stark when you watch it. But
like he's on a CW show.
No. He would have been great on Riverdale, Jesse. He would have been wonderful.
That's right. We're all high school students, yes? In our 30s.
It's just like imagining Steve Buscemi in 30 Rock going like, "What's up, fellow children?"
That's right. What's up, fellow children?
If anybody's never seen The Blob, spaceship lands in a small town in Pennsylvania. It's a blobby thing, and it latches onto people, and then it starts creeping and crawling all around the town. According to the theme song, it creeps and crawls and scatters all over the floor. But yeah, it was actually, it's a Criterion release too, so it was a really good transfer, and whole movie it's still a fun blast. And then Godzilla, I actually watched two versions of it. I rewatched the Japanese original from 1954, directed by Yoshiro Honda, which I hadn't seen in a while, and it looked fantastic, and the movie still packs a good punch. But then I watched the Americanized version, Godzilla King of the Monsters, which I don't remember seeing this version, but I guess I must have seen clips of Raymond Burr in it, because I forgot Raymond Burr was in the Americanized version. So if anybody doesn't know, Godzilla, when it was made, Terry Morse, a filmmaker in America, picked it up and re-edited it and shot new footage with Raymond Burr as an American journalist named Steve Martin. who is covering the attack of Godzilla in Japan. So it's not like an atrocious thing, and it's not like there's no disrespectful attitude Terry Morse takes towards Japanese people in it or anything. It just feels weird because they kind of basically strip away the allegory in Godzilla, which it doesn't matter either way. It's still a fun monster movie if you watch the Americanized version, but if you watch the original Godzilla, there's like a really like stark analogy going on between Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and the H-bomb that affected a fishing boat and where a person died. So there's just it's interesting to see how somebody was translating the material. But it's all cool because it's got Godzilla and he's a big old lizard monster that smashes things. And I can't wait to watch him smash Kong's face and have Kong smash it back in Godzilla versus Kong. And then I rewatched Sullivan's Travels, which I hadn't watched in a while either, but I did it for another ballyhoo. Ryan, when was the last time you watched it? I know you picked it up before I did on Criterion.
Maybe 6 months ago.
Okay. So I found it's been a while since I'd seen it, but I was able to pull out another Coen Brothers reference because that movie obviously is filled with stuff that then goes into Oh Brother Where Art Thou. The scene where Sullivan is helping out that widow and her sister, and then he goes to like spend the night in their house. The portrait of her former husband, every time they cut away to the portrait, it keeps changing facial expressions. The Coen brothers pull that same thing in the Lady Killers remake that they did whenever they move over to Irma P. Hall's former husband and the portrait of him in the wall. So the Coen brothers go back to Preston Sturges constantly because that's just like yet another reference that they pull in another movie that's not even related to their initial goal. But yeah, Sullivan's Travels, if you've never seen it, filmmaker in the studio era trying to make a serious drama about the Depression, but he's never experienced hard times, so he decides to go out and be a hobo to experience hard times, and he ends up getting his ass handed to him. And the movie ends up being primarily about the idea of like not everything needs to be a serious artistic message endeavor. Sometimes people need a good laugh. And actually, there's a Mickey Mouse cartoon that plays in the movie. And Ryan, did you know that before they even got that cartoon in, they were trying to get Warner Brothers and Merry Melodies to animate for them an opening credit sequence? Yeah, they did, but they never produced. We don't know if it was ever even produced because there's no record of footage of it existing or having been cut. But that was an initial plan for them. So instead, they just have the Disney cartoon, and they're the Pluto fighting with a flypaper trap on his butt. So yeah, Sullivan's Travels. If you've never seen it, you should. It's really fucking cool. And then I rewatched Sherlock Holmes Faces Death, which is another in the series of the Sherlock Holmes with Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce. This one finds Sherlock Holmes solving a murder inside of a mental kind of rest home, and it's a fun time. There's a lot of fun gags with Inspector Lestrade getting trapped inside little hallways inside the house, and Sherlock Holmes just rolling his eyes, going like, fucking Lestrade. But it's okay. It's an hour and 5 minutes. He solves the mystery because he's fucking Sherlock Holmes and he knows everything and he can kick ass. And then the last thing that I watched was a movie that I heard about on a Marx Brothers podcast that I didn't know existed, but it's produced by David and Jerry Zucker and written by Pat Proft, who wrote a lot of the Naked Guns and the Hot Shots films. And it's called Brain Donors. The director is Dennis Dugan, who is primarily the go-to director for Mr. Adam Sandler. And it's basically a Marx Brothers movie. Somehow in 1992, there was a secret Marx Brothers movie made. And the reason nobody saw it is because Paramount changed the title to something more broad and dumb. And they failed to market it correctly, because basically what it involves is John Turturro, Bob Nelson, and Mel Smith basically playing Groucho, Harpo, Chico. And the whole plot of the film is kind of a combination of A Day at the Races and A Night at the Opera. It's a movie that, like, as soon as, like, even when I was halfway through it, I texted Ryan and I was like, Ryan, you're going to love this fucking movie. It's the right amount of silly and stupid that the Zucker brothers have made their bread and butter on. But it also feels like 10 times more intelligent than it ought to, because it is pulling off like superb Marx Brothers type material. They even one up. They, instead of an opera, they do a ballet, and I would argue that as much as I love the insanity in Night at the Opera, I'm tempted to say I prefer the insanity at the end of Brain Donors as a comparison, because everything that I would probably want to see in an amped up version of a Marx Brothers movie happens in that moment with the same aesthetics as A Night at the Opera. So yeah, if you've never seen it, it's on. You can rent it on Amazon Video, and you can get it on Warner Archive DVD. But it's called Brain Donors. This is John Turturro playing kind of like a Groucho Marx character. I want to say like a year or two before Barton Fink hits. And I don't think I've ever seen him do really a comedy of this nature ever again. So if you want to see what John Turturro's career might have done had the movie been successful, this is your example here. So yeah, Ryan, I do hope you check this out at some point, because I think you'll really get a fun kick out of it. It's like 75 minutes, breezes by.
Sounds right up my alley.
Yep. And that's all I watched this week.
Corinne?
So just two things I'll talk about. Hanyo no Yashahime had its season finale on Saturday, and it was crazy. Spoiler alert for anybody who cares about Hanyo no Yashahime. They did the ballsy move, and they killed off one of the main characters, and then the other two main characters like raged out on the main bad guy, and it was this awesome fight. And of course, at the very end, they set it up to where you're like, okay, yeah, they're going to bring her back to life. But it was still pretty emotional and epic. And I'm so excited to say they are getting a second season. It has been confirmed. We haven't heard the timeline yet, but I'm guessing that it'll probably start in October, which is when season 1 started. So they'll probably just keep the same schedule, but we don't know that for sure yet. But pretty crazy. I'm super excited for season 2. Lots of questions still unanswered, so I'm very thankful that, the story will continue. And then the other thing I'll talk about is that I finally got around to watching, oh my gosh, I just forgot the name of the movie, Crazy Stupid Love, with Steve Carell and Julianne Moore and Ryan Gosling. You all have seen this movie?
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Okay, I hadn't seen it before, and I gotta say I was kind of surprised. I shouldn't have been as surprised as I was by the connection between all the characters at the very end, but I was like, oh, wow, why didn't I see that coming? I should have seen that coming, and I didn't. But no, it's a good movie, and really interesting discussion about, like, masculinity and family life and relationships and things like that. So this is an interesting, fun little watch. So recommend it. It's on Netflix.
I think it was on my film explosion list from that year. I can't remember off the top of my head, though.
I mean, I wouldn't blame you if it was. I mean, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I just
Carell's good in it.
Remember. You get old. You've done so many of them. You have a hard time remembering.
I know, like, that first 5 minutes where they're introducing the couple in the restaurant, and you see like the sequence of all the couples, and they have like their legs on each other under the table, and then you see this very stark contrast to the main Steve Carell and Julianne Moore's character, and like he's in the tennis shoes and they're not touching each other or anything, and then she's like, I want a divorce, and it's like, yeah, show don't tell. It was great, really well done. So recommend everybody go check it out.
I do want to say something kind of piggybacking off of the anime you were mentioning is one thing that I watched this week that was really interesting is there's a YouTube channel for a group of people that they're called Mega 64. They're based out of San Diego, and they have a series of videos that they do that are like, it's like Dragon Ball Z in 5 minutes, Metal Gear Solid in 5 minutes. And this week they released Neon Genesis Evangelion and the end of Evangelion in 5 minutes. And what makes it interesting is they're like these shortened wrap-ups of the series, but they're also done in a filming style that's known as like sweeted or sweated, where all of the effects have to be practical effects in the camera. Like they can't use any editing softwares or anything like that. And so it's low budget and it's funny. But at the same time, you're like, man, they managed to pull off some really impressive special effects without having, like any CGI or anything. But I mean, they're worth a watch if you like any of those properties.
That sounds awesome. I'm gonna have to check out the Dragon Ball Z one for sure. What's it called again? Mega 64?
Yeah, Mega 64, all one word. They have a bunch of videos that they do. They're really like, if you start looking into their other videos, they're really like hit or miss, but like any of their like in 5 minutes series, and spoiler alert, they're never 5 minutes. Like they always go way over 5 minutes, but, all of those are gold. And I think so far they have like Dragon Ball Z, the Frieza saga, Dragon Ball Z, the Cell saga. They haven't done the Boo saga yet. And then they have Metal Gear Solid, and then Neon Genesis Evangelion, and End of Evangelion.
Now, are they able with, it's already hard enough to make the End of Evangelion make sense in like 4 hours. How do they do in a much shorter time?
I mean, it does make sense, but it's more kind of poking fun at the fact that it doesn't make sense. So, right. I mean, you just have to watch it to see, but I mean, you get the general idea of what's happening because they're still breaking it down for you. But, it's just great because everything is, like I said, it looks very low budget, but when you watch it, you're like, they actually did some really like amazing things with low budget, using like camera angles and lighting tricks and a lot of milk. Use a lot of milk for different things, but and then, it's just funny. It's a good time. So
nice.
If you're a fan of any of the series that they've done, I mean, it's worth a check. I don't know. I feel like we've all probably played like the first Metal Gear Solid game. I know most of you guys probably aren't into Dragon Ball Z, and I know Brad and I used to watch Neon Genesis, so.
I do love Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, if you love Metal Gear Solid, go check it out. I was like, oh yeah, I remember. I watched that this week.
Cool. Brian?
Cool. I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If Corinne, you haven't seen it, they do deal with, what happens with the blip when it's serious, not through, kids' point of view. It's kind of an interesting setup for the first episode. You do get a new Captain America, I guess.
Just to be clear, the old one is dead, right?
What? No.
Yeah.
No, because
the first
he
scene
just got
was
old.
No, but the first scene when the Falcon is like, he's got like his suit and tie and he's got the shield, like he's either going to or coming from the funeral, right?
No, he's going to that thing where he's delivering the shield to the Smithsonian.
He's wearing something different, I thought.
No.
For that.
No, Cap isn't dead. He's just old, and obviously he doesn't want people to know that he's old and living a regular life, so they just made it seem like he's dead.
Oh, so he's really on the moon, like they're joking about?
No, Jesus. Like,
Brad, at the end of Endgame, he gave Sam the shield.
I got the impression between the end of Endgame and then this show like he actually died, and that's why they're having the memorial, and like he's relinquishing the shield because like, he's gone. I'm on my own. I don't feel like I can handle it. That's what I got.
He gave the shield to Sam at the end of Endgame because he was living his life with Peggy, and he just wanted to like retire basically and live a civilian life. So obviously, like what they told, John Q. Public was like, oh, we saved the world. Cap didn't make it. Like he sacrificed everything, and they just left it at that. They didn't say, yeah, Cap went back in time and married his high school sweetheart and got really old, and he lives in Ohio. Go fucking visit him anytime you want. Like they just made it seem to the general public like he's dead, but he's still alive. He's still doing his thing. Because that's why people keep talking where they're like, oh, Chris Evans keeps saying, where he's like, yeah, I'd do Captain America again. I'd step into that role. And so people think that he's going to appear in this series. So, but no, he ain't dead.
Yeah.
He's just old.
Yeah, I know. The show made it seem like he was dead to me because, like, I was like, why would you? Like, I assume Chris.
Dead to you, Brad.
Well, like I assume Chris Evans isn't coming back. I mean, he could, but like, I don't think there'd be a big reason for him to, except for like fan service. But sorry, Ryan, I totally continue.
No, it's fine. No, it's.
I thought it was an interesting choice if they did, because I was like, okay, cool. That like there are, some stakes to like him not being there. Like if I'm sit through the whole series, like
come back and start kicking ass or anything like that.
Well, no, and I also think they're setting up that, he's obviously Wyatt Russell's character is John Walker, who's U.S. agent, who is not a very good Captain America. And, they're setting up that not just because you have the shield doesn't make you Captain America. And I think that's what Sam is struggling with, is he could never live up to who Steve Rogers is. And I did like the scene at the bank when he was trying to get a loan to save his family's company. And they say, yeah, but you don't have any history for 5 years. And he's, I haven't existed for 5 years. It's a interesting fallout from, Infinity War.
Yeah.
And Endgame.
And
there's also a good fallout from that was the whole, like, does Stark pay you guys? Like, how do you make any money being a superhero? Because, like, how do you make any money being a superhero?
That's why Peter Parker always struggles, man. He has to be a freelance photographer or a science teacher.
Yeah, it's interesting to like dedicate yourself to like saving the world, and then they make it impossible for you to live in it.
Yeah.
Exactly, because Batman was always rich, so it wasn't a problem for him. But Superman still had to be a reporter.
Or Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Well, Tony Stark could just drink anytime he wanted.
It's interesting that he died and like didn't like. Obviously, he'd leave an inheritance to Morgan and Pepper, but I guess the Falcon's out of luck.
Yep. Sorry, Avengers.
Yeah. But I guess Thor's got a ton of like gold. I don't know. Am I also
money
like
doesn't mean anything to him?
Am I also wrong in suspecting that maybe whoever John Walker like is John Walker maybe also like pretending or not pretending, like is he like the head of the Flag Smashers? So like
maybe
the Flag Smashers are actually like a false flag operation to get people on board with the new Captain America.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know that the girl who was Enfys Nest is playing, like, her name is like Carly something, like I can't remember the last name, but it's supposed to be a reference to like Carl something, who was the character Flag Smasher in Marvel Comics.
5 episodes, we'll find out.
It's only 5 episodes?
Right? I know. Yeah, it is only 5. It's ridiculous.
Or 5 or 6, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are they doing after that?
Loki.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I only watched one other thing. I watched the reboot of Wrong Turn, which is, man, I don't remember when the original came out. The original dealt with kids getting trapped in the Appalachian Mountains by like redneck hillbilly mutant people and butchered. The new one is a group of friends go hiking in the mountains and they disappear, and one of the kids' father goes to look for them, and they're not like mutant hillbilly people. It's kind of a cult, and it's way different than the original. It's really gory. It's pretty fun. I like that it was different, but it kind of had the same vibe of people being hunted in the woods. Yeah, I mean, I can't really say too much here. It gets really spoilery, but that's what it is. Kids get lost and the dad goes looking for them. It starts with the dad looking for his missing daughter, and then it flashes back to 6 weeks prior, and you kind of see what happened to all the other people. Yeah, if you like horror movies and you like, I don't know what you'd call it, maybe survival horror. It's a fun one. And that's all I watched. This week on Real Nerds, we watched Zack Snyder's Justice League. Brad, should people see Zack Snyder's Justice League?
The Snyder Cuts?
I think the official title is, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think you should. Even beyond like alone, it's just a fascinating, like if you're into filmmaking, it's a fascinating like experiment in, it's unprecedented being able to watch someone else take a movie that's already existed and like on a big budget scale re-envision that, even that like the original was already a re-envisioning of someone else's work, like just getting to see two visions exist at the same time.
I saw that a couple weeks ago.
What?
Two visions existing at the same time.
But even just like as a film itself, it's great to see that the tone of the other, like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, be consistent into this movie, and all the extra time just like really fleshes out what was lacking in the theatrical release. I think it's enjoyable. I don't think it's like it's gonna vastly I don't think it makes like it like a complete revelation of a movie, but I think it definitely improves on the theatrical for sure. So we'll talk about more detail in a minute.
Jesse, should people see Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I mean, the movie was basically garbage. It was too short. The director's kind of a creep and a hack. Nothing. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Joss Whedon still.
Oh, fuck.
Shots fired.
That's right. Take it, Whedon. You're a hack. Nobody cares about Firefly. Yeah, you know what? I really liked the movie, and I will say that the reasons why is we, and I'm sure you guys probably know better than anyone because you see all the movies, but we really exist in a world right now where movies are becoming dumber and TV is becoming better. And it's because we kind of exist in this world where no one is willing to let anything come to fruition. They want it hard and fast, and they want it now. No one can be told anything that they don't want to hear. No one can wait for the mystery to be resolved. They're like, I need it now. They're very Veruca Salt about everything. And so it was nice to see a movie where you got to see his whole vision, and obviously studio execs and other people stepped in and they were like, well, this doesn't fit in with the whole 2-hour promise. And, the movie theaters definitely have that stranglehold where they're like, oh, we need things to be 2 hours or under so that we can service more movies. And so that, there's anytime you have a lot of people looking at something from a standpoint of trying to make money, you're going to lose art. Like, you're going to lose storytelling. And so it was really nice to see, like, hey, like they should have trusted in the process. Like, there was a story, there was a fleshing out. I mean, like, there was still stuff that could have ended up on the cutting room floor. Like, don't get me wrong, they definitely stretched it out. There was a lot of random stuff in there. There was a lot of slow-mo shots. Like, I guarantee if you took out all those slow-mo shots, it would have taken like 20 minutes off the movie. But
maybe
on the
more.
whole, it was a much more, maybe more, right? Slow-mo shots and people singing for no reason. But on the whole, it was a much more fleshed out movie in terms of, like, obviously Warner Brothers wanted to catch up with Marvel. Like, they wanted another Avengers movie, but they weren't willing to put in the time and the work, because what they didn't realize is that by the time Avengers came out, all of these other characters had singular movies introducing them. And at that point, all we had was Superman, like Man of Steel. So Warner Brothers just was like, make this movie and introduce these characters. Well, I mean, I think we're at a point in the world now where you don't need to reintroduce Batman. Like, I swear I'm going to vomit every time, like if I have to watch Martha Wayne's pearls hit the ground one more time in a movie theater, I'm going to lose it. Just like if I have to hear Uncle Ben say, with great power comes great responsibility. And that's what I loved about the new Spider-Man movie. You didn't get that. They were just like, yeah, you know who Spider-Man is. Like, everyone knows who Spider-Man is. And that's how these movies were, where they're like, yeah, everyone knows who Batman is. But you had all these other characters that they had to introduce. And in the Justice League movie, they didn't really introduce them. Like, they kind of threw them in and they're like, here's this guy and here's this guy. And that was the end of it. But in this, you get fully fleshed out background stories for everyone. I mean, basically, like, what we saw with this was Zack Snyder took what Marvel had done in 4 or 5 movies and was able to do it in essentially 2. If you take like the 4-hour runtime and break it into 2 movies. And it was very impressive that he could do that. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but it's definitely better than the one we got. And it makes Batman v Superman also appear to be a better movie. Like, there's definitely like a vision that they were working towards, and that's what I appreciated about it. So that's all I have to say for right now.
Zach, should people watch Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Yeah, I think you should. I will get into it after the trailer, but I kind of had to step away from this film as a point of being part of a DC universe or anything like that, and really focus on watching it as a director finalizing his vision, because at this point the DC universe has collapsed in on itself to the point where this is all we're getting, and then that's the end of it. So I really worked to separate myself even from Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad and really just look at it like, this is what it is. And I can say that if you are somebody who avoided the first cut of Justice League and are curious about what this looks like, this will probably be the version you'll want to just watch, period, if you want it out of your system. But we got to get past the trailer before we could talk before we could talk any more about it. But yeah, I think you should give it a watch, especially since it's on HBO Max. You're not really paying anything beyond your subscription fee to give it a shot. So,
Corinne, should people watch Zack Snyder's Justice League?
You mean Slow Motion the movie? No,
I think speed ramping, Corinne.
Jesse pretty much nailed what I was gonna say. I felt like there were parts of this movie where it felt like it felt like it was a little too had its head too far up its own ass, sort of a thing, and especially like that first part or the first third of it. I was just like, oh my gosh, with the slow motion, can we please get to the thing already? I was a lot more invested in Cyborg's, his arc and his background. This, we actually get his background this time around, and it's nice. I thought that the design of Steppenwolf was a lot better. I thought his voice acting was a lot worse, and we'll talk about that. Ultimately, like, I started off really annoyed, and I got a lot more invested as it went on, to the point where, at the end, I was like, oh shit, like, I want to see the next movie. But of course, now they're like, well, this is the end. You're not going to get another one. And I'm like, what? Damn it. Don't tease me with Darkseid and then not give me Darkseid. Damn it. So, some things are better. Some things are worse. It feels more coherent at the very least. But it really ultimately feels like a movie that is made for DC fans, whereas Marvel tends to have like a lower entry point of where, you don't know who this person is. Well, here, we will explain it to you. So then that way, if you're not a comic super fan, you're not going to be lost. But there are several scenes in this movie, as Leslie Jones pointed out on her awesome Twitter thing that she did, live tweet, yeah. Where if you have no idea who any of these characters are from reading the comics or watching other TV shows or something, you're going to be completely lost. So it feels very much like a movie for the fans, kind of by the fans. So I guess just keep that in mind. But people have probably watched it already, so I don't think anybody's up in the air at this point. They're either going to watch it, or they're either not going to watch it, or they already have.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should watch it. I think it tells an interesting story. I think it suffers from some pacing issues big time. I think some of the dialogue is really clunky and stupid. I mean, we've talked about the slow motion shots, and sometimes I don't think everyone's motivation is 100% defined, even in 4 hours. Corinne talked about liking the Cyborg story. I'm not so much on board with it. But anyways, you should still watch it, though. Here's a trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
The bell's been rung. Out in the dark, among the stars, the god is dead.
I had a dream. Almost like a premonition. I think there's an attack coming.
My lord, this world will fall.
I need warriors. I'm building an alliance to defend ourselves.
How do you know your team's strong enough? If you can't bring down the charging bull, then don't wave the red cape at it.
You were sent here for a reason. And even if it takes you the rest of your life, find out what that reason is.
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
It will. It has to.
We live in a society where honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right, Batman?
Yeah, this is one of those movies. Brad sent out a text that, we wish we talked about it right after the film. It's one of those movies you do need to, because there's so much to unpack with it. And I was really taken aback when I was watching it, where you would see, glimpses of what you saw in the theatrical version of Justice League, and then it would go in a totally different way. And it was very fascinating. And it started right away with the death of Superman. His scream,
cell phone thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Woke up the mother boxes, which, is very fascinating. And, they're trying to get to a point that their motivation seemed a little more, focused this time. With Batman. I still think Ben Affleck is a great Bruce Wayne in Batman. I wish he actually got his own solo movie. I'd love to see an older Batman, fight crime.
I would have loved to see him fight Deathstroke the way this set things up.
Right. I mean, it was cool that they did that little nod at the end where he had like the battle tank, and he had like the mutant gang all tied up in that pit,
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dark Knight Returns nod, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was, because right from the get-go, Ben Affleck's Batman has kind of been like a wink and a nod to the Dark Knight Returns, where it's like, well, this is an older Batman, it's an older Bruce Wayne, so it's kind of nice to have that little bit of fan service. But yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. It was very interesting to see the dichotomy in this movie between, like, you just got a lot more out of the mother boxes, where it was like Superman's death kind of heralded out a cry to the mother boxes, where they were like, well, this world it's unguarded, and there's even like the scene where when they're trying to bring him back, and Cyborg's like, the mother box is afraid of Superman and the ship doesn't like the mother box. It's like the two things were kind of like, both of these things are telling me this is a bad idea, but for different reasons.
Yeah. And, that scene right there is, which is really interesting about this movie too, is they're holding back the biggest hero in it. I don't think he shows up until 2.5 hours into the movie. Superman.
I was actually shocked how little Superman there turned out to be. Like, I expected with the 4 hours we were going to get more than the theatrical did, but he really is in like the third act.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like if this was originally, because I think Zack Snyder's original thing was supposed to be like a 4-movie arc. So I feel like at the end of the first movie would have been Superman coming back, and then he just leaves. And so it wouldn't have been until the second movie that he came fully back.
Yeah, it's, but that whole scene too, I thought there's one scene or a couple scenes in this version of it that I thought served the purpose a lot better. And that was one of them. I know I'm jumping a lot to get to Superman, but we have Jesse on. And, the bringing him back to life, I thought had a lot more weight to it this time, where, are we making the right...
Definitely built it up more, for sure.
Yeah, are we making the right decision? Is this something we should be doing? How do we know it's going to work? And, even the Flash I thought was a lot cooler in this version. For
sure.
But also he seems really out of place because he's really jokey and funny, and nobody else in the movie is jokey or funny.
I say thankfully,
yeah,
jokey or funny, because...
But he was like somehow less, because in the Joss Whedon one, they just kind of made him out to be like the comic relief.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, at least in this, and that was another thing that I loved about this, is in this movie, all of the characters are, like, they're confident, like they're at the pinnacle of their, whatever. Whereas, like, in the Joss Whedon one, he's constantly depowering. Like, in all of the action scenes in the Joss Whedon one, they're like depowered or they're clumsy. Like, he's constantly making edits where the Flash is just like stumbling and falling. And in this movie, we see that every time the Flash falls, it's because he's been like shot in the leg or shot someplace else. He isn't just like, oh, I'm so clumsy. Like, how is the fastest man alive that clumsy? And then, like, Batman, in the Joss Whedon one where he's just like laying on the ground and he's like, yep, something's broken, something's bleeding. Like he was just constantly making them like these jokes, and these characters are supposed to be great. And I love that this version like keeps that like, yeah, we're here, we're ready to fight, like let's do this.
I thought the Flash also, because I've never been a big Flash fan, but I loved how his powers translated in this movie. You know, it wasn't just him running and stopping really fast. It was, you know, the electricity and all that kind of stuff. I thought made his character visually really unique. When he runs through the glass at the dog watching or dog daycare thing to save that lady, I thought was
Iris,
really visually cool.
Yeah, Ryan didn't even know her name.
No, her name's
like
Iris.
when he saves that lady, and I'm like, Iris West, his future wife. Yeah.
Well, we know that, but the movie actually doesn't tell us that itself.
It's true. You don't ever see her name. I thought that was interesting too when I watched it, because I knew who it was because I, seen like what it was supposed to be. But yeah, they don't ever like mention her name. So
yeah,
again, more world
person.
building.
Yeah.
More world building.
Interesting story-wise too with the Flash is like much like Infinity War and Endgame. The heroes blow it, and then they have to go back in time to fix it. So.
Yeah, it's that's I don't know too. Sometimes I thought it wasn't really defined why. I mean, I didn't understand why Wonder Woman couldn't hurt Steppenwolf. Like I never understood that in this film.
She beheaded him.
Well, yeah, after
totally
Superman beat the fuck out of him. But like, because Jesse, you know DC better than I do. But isn't Wonder Woman as strong or comparable to Superman?
I mean, here's the thing, like, in DC Comics, no one is stronger than Superman. Wonder Woman is a close second, and I mean, like, I think we see that in this movie, especially in this version, because in the Joss Whedon one, he kind of dumbs her down, but like in that scene when she's rescuing the kids from that, like, museum, and she's so fast, and she's so brutal, like, all of the action scenes are definitely ramped up in this, and like you see how fast she is and how strong she is. And yet, again, as you said, when it comes to Steppenwolf, it's like, well, can't she handle it? And it's like, no, that's why they needed Superman, like, because he's that much stronger.
Speaking of handling it. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that in the final fight, it definitely felt like the big three in terms of power was Superman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman. And especially, 100%. Whenever they revive Superman and Wonder Woman's like, Arthur, we have to restrain him. So it's like those two are definitely stronger than, arguably than Cyborg and Flash. I mean, their talents lie elsewhere, but in terms of just raw strength,
well, I don't think Flash has ever been a strong hero. I think he's always been kind of weak.
Yeah, he's not strong. He's just fast enough. But like the thing that people don't realize about Aquaman, because people are always like, Aquaman sucks. He just talks to fish, and I'm like, Aquaman's strong. Like he could like pick up a boat and throw a boat over a hedge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you see Aquaman?
He's mostly
takes a submarine to the surface.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's mostly bulletproof. He is, super fast under the water. I mean, Aquaman is kind of nothing to mess with.
So can Aquaman fly?
No.
Or can he just jump really far? I don't understand his powers on Earth.
Oh,
no, he can just jump really far.
Yeah, it's just the strength that he has enables him to jump really, really far, or really high, or whatever. But
like Jessica Jones,
he can't fly. Yeah, exactly, like Jessica Jones. That's perfect. Yeah, it's just like all of his strength. But again, like Aquaman is very strong, and I think Corinne hit the nail on the head where it's like the top three are in terms of like power is like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Superman.
Yeah, but too, I love that they also dived into how smart Batman is, because he and Alfred developed those gauntlets that would absorb the energy from
Exactly. And that's the other
I
thing
thought it was
too,
a pretty
is
cool little thing.
Batman seems incredibly competent in every part of this movie where, to the point where he's either developing some sort of technology that can deal with what's going to come, or, he's just on the fly, like grabbing parademon guns and shooting them and everything like that. And I thought that was great too. And he's using all the weapons at his, in his arsenal, and
I love that
he seems very competent.
Yeah, I love that Wonder Woman was murdering terrorists at the beginning.
Yeah, Wonder Woman's actually like, it's one of those things people are always like, oh, Superman doesn't kill in the comics, Batman doesn't kill in the comics, but like Wonder Woman has always killed in the comics and no one bats a fucking eye about it. Like, she's killed a lot of people in the comics.
Yeah.
And also, as Zack Snyder said, if you think that Batman, just being a regular dude, could do his entire job for as long as he could and not kill anyone, you're living in a fucking dream world.
I have a question about like power strength. So like, I'm surprised. So we see a Green Lantern in this movie, right?
And sure do.
And presumably there is a whole core of these guys across the universe, and yet somehow they seem unable to handle Darkseid. Why is that?
So, okay, so
because you have a ring that can create whatever at any time, and yet
so the Green Lantern Corps is like a police unit, and as Ryan can probably tell us, like, police are given they're given a lot of tools, but every once in a while they come across something they just can't handle, and Darkseid is a pretty big thing, and so. Like, that's kind of how it was, is like every sector in space, and like in Earth is like 2814 is their sector that they're assigned. There is a Green Lantern assigned to every sector in space. And so the sector 2814 had a Green Lantern. And then when he died by the hands of Darkseid's legions, although I think at that point in the movie he wasn't like fully Darkseid, he was just Uxas.
Yeah.
Or Uxas, or I don't know. I've never known how to pronounce it. It's like Uxas, so good luck. At that point, he was doing the best he could, and he died, and the ring flew off to find another suitor. But, like, again, the arrogance of man is that just because he's assigned to this sector of space, because everyone's like, oh, why wasn't he back for this movie for Steppenwolf? And it's like, he could have a lot of stuff that he's dealing with in other areas of, the sector of space he's assigned to, and this was just like a blip. And or he was like, well, Earth is well equipped. It's got a bunch of heroes on it, so they're good.
I would just think, like, it seems like Darkseid, when you're conquering like 100,000 worlds, like, he'd probably be the universe's like number one priority. But
and that's why initially the Green Lantern was there. But for this other one, it wasn't Darkseid, it was Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Acting on the behalf of Darkseid. And that was another thing that I thought was interesting too, is in the original movie, they don't really mention Darkseid at all. It just seems like the main villain is Steppenwolf, and he's just like, I'm Steppenwolf and I just like to conquer stuff. But in this one, you get, the backstory of the character of Steppenwolf, where it's like, he messed up, he's trying to make amends, and he's like, oh, well, I found like these mother boxes, and this world also contains, the anti-life equation. So this is going to get me back in the good graces. Although I will say, I will say that to say this, in terms of things that don't make sense, so Darkseid or Uxas finds this world and it has the anti-life equation. He has his butt handed to him and he leaves. And then he just like forgets what world he was at.
Yeah.
Because they refer to it as like the forgotten world. He's just like, oh, I forgot entirely where that planet was that had the main thing that I was after, and I left my mother boxes there. That's cool. I just blanked it out of it. Like, you don't have like coordinates in a computer somewhere that told you what planet you were on. He's just like, well, I guess that's going forever.
And you have these boom tube things that like instantly take you wherever you want to go.
Exactly. Exactly. Like that part to me did not make any sense.
I thought the boom tubes were powered by the mother boxes.
They are 100%, Corinne. You are correct. The boom tubes are generated by the mother boxes.
So
then once they don't have the mother boxes, or once the mother boxes are disassembled, then no more boom
once
tubes.
the mother boxes go quiet, there are no boom tubes. But still, like, he was on a ship. Like, you would think that.
Yeah, recorded the coordinates of where they.
Exactly. Like, that to me was like the one part where I was just like, because he refers to it as like, he's like, sire, I found the lost world. And I'm like, the lost world? Like, you don't remember where the one thing in the galaxy that you wanted was? It would be like
sometimes we forget where we left our keys and stuff.
I know, but it would be like if Thanos was like, where did I put that Infinity Gauntlet? It's got to be around here somewhere. You know, like, it just seemed like a very, like, flimsy explanation of why he hadn't come back.
Yeah, and wasn't Steppenwolf in that original fight too?
No. So in the Justice League movie, it was.
No, I think he's talking about in the flashback.
Yeah, the Age of Heroes or whatever, when like Zeus is there and everybody, like Steppenwolf was there too, right?
Steppenwolf was not in that. No.
Okay, so when he like, I don't know, goes to like whatever Icelandic place and he's like, oh, I found the anti-life equation. Like that is a first time for him.
That's the first time for him finding it on the planet, but Darkseid had previously found it on the planet.
Yeah. But yeah, it's weird that Darkseid doesn't remember. But I guess he did have his like throat cut a little bit, so maybe he lost.
I mean, he got beat up real bad, but still, like, it just seems weird to like leave and be like, well, I don't even remember where that planet was. Because it seems like if you were looking for the anti-life equation, you'd be charting a course across the galaxy, and you would be,
yeah, it's his only motivation,
putting
right?
like a red X through. Yeah, you'd be like putting a red X through planets where you're like, well, it went here, and this didn't have it. So it seems like it would be very easy to like pick up and keep going, but he's just like, well, I got beat up and then I forgot.
You conquer like 100,000 worlds and they all kind of start to look the same. I don't know.
Exactly. Like, who knows?
I got to say that one thing that really disappointed me about all the bad guys was how they sounded. They sounded exactly the same. Like, I remember admittedly,
gravelly voice.
Yeah. It's like, it's almost like deeper voice equals evil or something. And it's like all the nuance from Syrian Hines' original performance in the Justice League version is completely gone. Because it sounds like they just like auto-tuned it or something to make it deeper. And then Darkseid sounds exactly the same as Steppenwolf and Tassad or whatever.
Tassad
he sounds exactly the same.
No, he has like a higher pitch to it.
Not really. They all sound identical to me.
No.
I mean, maybe there's like a tiny difference, but like all the nuance in those performances is gone. If you watch the animated movies, like Batman, Superman, Apocalypse, where Andre Braugher is Darkseid, like he has a great vocal performance, and it's like all of that, that charisma and the atmosphere and stuff that they bring in their performance is gone because you just like auto-tuned it so that it was deeper, and now they all just sound so generically evil that I don't even care. Ugh, piss me off.
It's true. Tassad should sound more grovelly, snivelly, kind of like Starscream from like the original G1 Transformers cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like he's the servant, but like only because of circumstance, and Darkseid, I mean, most of the cartoons, it's Jeremy Ironside?
Michael Ironside?
No, not Jeremy Irons. Who?
You said Michael Ironside?
Michael Ironside, yeah. Michael Ironside, for the most part, voices Darkseid in all the DC cartoons because he just has that like deep, commanding, gravelly voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, other than this movie, like they've really never shown Steppenwolf in much of anything. I think maybe like Justice League Unlimited.
I think he was only in one episode of JLU.
Yeah, but exactly, like you are correct that when you watch those, like each of the characters seems very different, and in this one it was just like I've got a deep voice, so I'm evil. And it's like, I also have a deep voice and I'm evil.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier is I thought that Steppenwolf looked better, but he sounded worse in this version.
The one thing I thought I did like the design better than the other one. There were times where his like nanomachine armor was kind of weird and, because it was like constantly moving. But what weirded me out was like anytime he was talking to like Desaad or especially like Darkseid, he'd get these weird like big puppy dog like blue eyes. Like they'd like make his eyes like really big and kind of like sad puppy dog eyes. And it looked like really comical where I'm like, you have this like really grotesque, mean alien, and now all of a sudden he looks like, one of those little figurines
it's a quick way to
pick up in a gift shop at a hospital.
It's a quick way to generate sympathy in your villain, which I felt like I was like, man, this guy was like, I love the memes where it's like,
Grumpy cat.
Like this guy owes 50,000 worlds is a debt. Like, good luck, like I'd be, all he wants to do is go home too. Like, that's it. Like he's like a lost puppy,
Yeah. Well, and they never like told us what it was that he did that he got banished.
I don't think you need to. I just get the idea. Like, well, he failed like some conquest, so like one screw up is enough to piss off Darkseid. So,
if he would have been a major player going forward, like if he hadn't died at the end of this movie, I guess I would have wanted more of an explanation. But he dies, so it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. I felt that was my thing. Is I guess through like most of the movie, I was just like, I want to know more about him. I want to know what he did. And then at the end, I was like that last fight scene was so brutal. I was like, oh man, Superman just almost straight up killed this guy. And then there was the whole thing, and I was like, oh well, Wonder Woman didn't kill him. So that's the end of that. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that whole Superman appearance was badass. Like,
the black costume is amazing, and I really thought I was gonna hate it.
I didn't realize. Like, I wish they explained that it's the Kryptonian healing suit. Like, it's not just a black costume; it's a healing suit.
I mean, it was in the comics. Is it also supposed to be that in this, or is it just a black suit?
Well, I in the movie I thought it was a black suit, but like, we only ever see him walk through the ship and like look at possible things to wear. So I think if they had in the movie mentioned that like, oh, this will help you get back to full strength or something really quickly. Like, I think that would have justified, like, it's not just a different colored suit because we want a different colored suit.
That was kind of what I was waiting for, I was like, oh, well, maybe they'll explain why it's black. Like, is he in mourning? Is it a healing suit? Because in the original comics, he wore it because, the black was supposed to absorb more solar energy. And so it was supposed to recharge his cells faster from him being dead.
Yeah, and I thought
they never like explain that in this. Instead, it's just like Superman's just got a bitchin' black suit.
I could have sworn in BVS, the fake coffin had like a black suit, like they buried him in a memorial type suit. Am I just misremembering that?
Yeah, because he was just buried in clothes. Remember, they just buried him as Clark Kent.
Yeah,
yeah, because they mentioned in it that Clark Kent died in the fight. They never said that he was Superman.
But there wasn't
and even when they take him out of the thing in this movie and they're putting him down in that like goop in the ship, he's just Clark Kent in like a tuxedo.
Yeah, but I could have sworn there's like, I think back before Justice League there was like a trailer or something that had, the black suit with the, he had like his arms crossed and like the silver shield.
I think you're thinking of that like nightmare sequence that he has in Man of Steel where Zod is talking about destroying worlds. And he gets like buried in all the skulls.
Maybe.
Because he's in a black suit in that. Because I think like the traditional like Kryptonian like war suit is like a black version of his costume.
Yeah.
Because that's what Zod and all of his people are wearing.
Yeah, before their armor. Yeah. But yeah, when he comes back and like again, like I've even seen this movie already in one version. Like I totally forgot about him being gone. So when he drops in and blocks Steppenwolf from, oh my God, Cyborg, and like it goes not impressed. It was like such a great, like it was cat picks up the hammer moment.
Yeah, it was much better than the moment of him coming back that we got in the Whedon version, where it was like he comes back, but he's kind of like, they're like, oh, good, Superman's back. Now help us save this Russian family. And him and the Flash kind of go do this thing, and everyone else is fighting Steppenwolf. And then he just comes back and pummels on Steppenwolf, and it's done. And it was kind of like, well, no one could do anything until Superman got back. And I definitely, I got the sense from this movie that he was the final piece of the puzzle. But I mean, they were still holding their own. So.
Yeah. Zach, you okay? I haven't heard from you in an hour.
I'm fine. I'm listening to you guys fanboy out. I feel I must confess I feel very disconnected from the fan experience, because as most of the people on this show know, my comic book knowledge kind of ceased at a certain point, to the point where it's now just on the film level. And like I said when I did the my thing up at the top, I couldn't look at this in terms of the DCEU anymore. I couldn't even look at it in terms of a DC film. I had to look at it from the terms of, here's a filmmaker who was put in unfortunately terrible circumstances in regards to the way his studio treated him, and then the way that the replacement director decided to treat his material and the crew members of that endeavor. I'm going to go out on a limb and say something, put aside the superhero element of it all. And I don't know if it's because knowing what Snyder went through with his daughter's suicide, this is the most emotionally resonant movie I've ever seen Zack Snyder make. Because there's a lot of theme drawing throughout the whole film about loss. It seems on the nose, but I actually thought it was a nice touch of when Barry Allen, I don't know if this was in the original theatrical cut, so bear with me, but Barry is going off with Bruce out of Barry's compound, and there's a sign for suicide that says "You are not alone." And there's a lot of different elements about assuring people that they are not alone, that they're okay. And then when you see the For Autumn at the end, like it almost, I got this feeling that Snyder almost didn't want to go back to this territory, but there was something about this story that he had already constructed that was worth finishing for him on those grounds. And I can never fully down on any artist who clearly has something in there. Because the one thing I noticed about this film is that it has an identity that I think some Marvel movies don't have. But if I'm going to look at it objectively, I still don't think that the story fully works, because my feelings in regards to how it still connects to Batman v Superman, we're still dealing with the baggage of the Martha line and other things that came before it. But if I put that off to the side for a second, I actually enjoyed watching what Snyder was attempting to pull off here. And I think it was very fascinating to watch it unfold under those circumstances. Like, I got to be honest, I would love to see where this goes. I would, if I would recommend people for watching it in terms of like, I really would watch it just in terms of just its own thing and not even connected to the DCEU, because it feels like its own experience altogether. I know it's connected to other films, but it didn't feel that way, the way it did when we were building up to it initially up into 2017.
I forgot to say in my intro that, like, you know, one of the things I don't like about this movie is it's so focused on just like going through the plot of, you know, solving, like, we have to defeat Steppenwolf, then we have to defeat Darkseid. And I wish there was more inter-character moments that were like self-reflective.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would think there would be like a scene where Bruce Wayne and the Flash, talk about more like, you know, Batman's an orphan and the Flash like has a dad in prison and his mom, I assume, is dead. right?
Yes, very famously so.
Yeah, so like
he was killed by Reverse Flash.
Yeah, his dad was blamed for the death of his mother, but yeah, she was killed by Reverse Flash. But
so like they should have like that connection.
I see what you're saying, because it's like the only connection we get that's like anywhere close to that is when Wonder Woman tries to recruit Cyborg.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
I understand loss. I've been there, and that's like the only time where you see like two characters really like bond in that like, hey, you know, we're all going through some stuff.
Yeah, like Aquaman and Superman can connect because they're like,
two dude bros.
Well, but you know, Aquaman has his parent, but he's like of a different culture, you know. Does that make sense? You know, like Superman is an orphan on another planet, you know.
I really appreciated the moment when Aquaman was worried about Cyborg after Cyborg's dad died. He's like, "Hey, is he okay?" And like he's talking with the Flash about it. Yeah, that was like there were a couple of scenes where I was like, yeah, it was really cool to like see all the characters starting to kind of gel and like really forming like the Justice League. And it's because like so much of the movie is just like them off on their own and they're doing their own thing, and slow-mo shots of Diana carrying an arrow and Cyborg is a football player.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to have those moments where they were actually all on screen together.
It's so goal oriented where they go from like, we got to go from A to B to C, and none of them like really stop and say like, you know, reflect on like, okay, what are we going through right now? Like, what are we doing? You know, what does this mean to us? So I wish this movie had more of that. So
I mean, it's already.
It definitely seemed like as the movie went on, Batman got happier. Like he was just all of a sudden like he's like everything's going on faith.
Yeah, that was so weird to hear like Batman Alfred? So into faith. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, is he George Michael all of a sudden? Like, what's going on here? He's talking about faith so much.
I mean, on some level, it's cool that like, you know, it feels like Superman has inspired him the way Superman is supposed to inspire people. So like it's gotten through to him. But at the same time, I feel like Batman is such a dark character that like
exactly.
You shouldn't be excited about that.
It's funny that you say that he was inspired, because all that I saw was a man who was so driven by his guilt that he was willing to do anything to make it right. Up to like even the scene which I referenced earlier where it's like the box is afraid of Superman and the ship doesn't like the box, and they're both telling me this is a bad idea, and like everyone's kind of like, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't do this. And Batman's just like, we're doing it. We're bringing him back. I got to do this so I can sleep at night. You know, like it was like Batman was the only one that was just like, it's happening. Just fucking do it. Which like everyone else was second guessing because, you know, the signs were there, and Batman was just like, we're making it happen. Do it.
I you know,
because he was so driven by his guilt.
I feel ultimately, because it's flashback to 2016 when I was vehemently trying to defend Batman v Superman, seeing it 3 times, and a lot of it had to do with I hated the people who were backlashing against Ben Affleck, and I was just like, no, I want this movie to be successful, because I still think he was one of the best parts of that film, but the more and more I draw on that Martha thing, if they had found a better way in Batman v Superman to get the fighting to stop, apart from that little tidbit of information for fanboys.
Exactly. It was basically like they were like, what's your favorite dinosaur? Velociraptor. Did we just become best friends?
Jesse, my friend, when I went to go see it a third time with some friends of mine who were bigger comic book fans than I was, they walked out of it and they were like, all right, guys, we're all joining the No Dead Best Friends Club. And that was the feeling that I finally clicked in me, like, oh yeah, this is a bad way to get them to stop fighting. And ultimately it would make sense for Bruce to act the way he's acting if the motivation for him stopping the fight in Batman v Superman were better. But since it doesn't do that, it feels weak, and it feels
it's
lacking.
A tricky thing because I see what he was trying to go for, where Zack Snyder was trying to show that he was trying to show Batman that Superman, where he's like, oh, he's just like us.
Yeah, that he's trying to find that the humanity.
Exactly,
connection.
where he built him up to be like this alien and this invader, and it was just like, oh, he's just like us. Like he has parents. He has people that he loves.
It's almost like the scene should have been rewritten in order to clarify that intention rather than relying on just Martha. Why did you say that name? But if we're bringing it into Justice League, like, Batman's whole thing with this, like the interactions that he and Alfred had are actually some of my favorites because I do like watching Jeremy Irons as Alfred a lot.
Oh my God. Like this movie taught me how to make tea. I've apparently been making tea incorrectly this entire time.
Wait.
If you go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, like they teach you how to make tea, but like the first instruction is like put the tea in the tea leaves in first and then put the water on it because you want to burn it.
So you're supposed to put the water in first because if you pour the water over the tea leaves, you scald the tea leaves. And
what's the difference between just dropping them in the hot water? It seems the same to me.
No, because Brad, once you pour it into the cup, the temperature degrades by like 20 degrees.
Brad, Alfred's lived in Britain before. Are you going to question the way they make tea? Like, come on, dude.
Look, I only listen to myself, okay? I am the person with the best advice and the most knowledge, so I'm going to question this, of course.
I just know my wife loves tea. She loves a good tea. And a lot of times I make tea for her. And ever since I saw this movie, I've been doing that. And she's like, oh, I don't know what you've been doing, but your tea tastes better.
It just tastes like gross water to me.
The past 2 days.
It's just brown water. Yeah,
you're wrong, Corinne. It helps cleanse your system and clarify your soul. I have a question for any DC folk out there, which I guess would mean Jesse and Brad.
Yeah, that's.
Or I guess Corinne too. I've got some Martian Manhunter quandaries about circling my brain. So
bring it on.
So. Harry
you
Lennox,
know how I feel about Martian Manhunter and Harry Lennox.
I know. So I guess I should have included you in this bunch. So Harry Lennox has been Martian Manhunter this whole time, but
Apparently.
he knew that Superman was a Kryptonian, and didn't bother to say like, "Hey, guess what? I'm an alien too."
I'm gonna get ahead of this and say like that was a cool moment, but totally not necessary for the movie. And yes, why is he like?
It made more sense if they were actually going to have sequels to it.
Yeah.
Because he would be very, very helpful in the fights to come against Darkseid. And
he also would have been helpful.
Is name Harry Lennox? Because I know his character's name is like General.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying him by
Sean Jones.
I'm calling him by the actor name because Harry Lennox is a god.
He would have been.
I know that his name is like Swanwick. Or like that,
Sorry, Jesse. I only speak in actor speak and comic book speak.
He would have been.
So I think what happened with that, and this is as it was explained by Snyder himself, because people are like, well, "What the fuck?" Is that pretty much up until that point, like everything on Earth was kind of being handled by like this, that, or the other. And apparently even the Kryptonian invasion was being handled by Superman, so he didn't feel the need to reveal himself. And then like the advent of Darkseid and other characters like that,
forced him out.
Yeah, kind of forced him where he was like, all right, I probably need to step out from the shadows and do my thing. But his main thing up until then was he was just trying to blend in and survive because he was truly like an alien among people.
So many people died under Superman in that in the Kryptonian fight. Like, how do you not step in?
I'll give you the real explanation. Okay, I watched an interview with Harry Lennox, and he was talking about the history of the character and all the decision making. And from what I remember, he said it sounds like it was a retcon and that they didn't initially plan it for Man of Steel. I don't remember if they had decided by the time they filmed BVS, but I know like once they started drafting Justice League, like way, before 2017, that Snyder was like, yeah, this character is Martian Manhunter.
Yeah,
okay.
What you just said sounds 100% like it's probably true. It just sounds like it's just like a lazy retcon where they're like, well, let's just take an actor that's already in this movie and just be like, surprise, it's Martian Manhunter because he can be anyone.
It kind of makes sense that it was Harry Lennox's character because John Jones, from what I remember, is he usually does go undercover as a black guy when he appears as a human. So makes sense.
And usually like someone who's like a cop or a detective, or like someone
in authority.
Someone who's in like a state of authority because of the whole like Martian Manhunter. That's why he was like, yeah, they call me the Martian Manhunter. I did think it was weird that he wasn't just like, they call me John Jones. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, they call me the Martian Manhunter. And I'm like, yeah,
the same thing, Jesse. I'm like, why would you introduce yourself to a human like that? Like, by the way, my name is Human Killer. No big deal. And then just
Batman,
fly off.
Well, like Batman of all people who's afraid of Martians.
Well, but the thing is like, so the people call Wonder Woman. She calls herself Diana. Like, nobody calls her Wonder Woman. They always call her Diana.
Flash calls her Wonder Woman at one point.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely like a thing where like, that's like the public's name for a character. It's not like the name they, say for themselves. It was very strange that he's like, I'm called the Martian Manhunter. Like, almost like he's like twirling a mustache while he's saying it. It's like, why wouldn't you just say your name is John Jones?
Yeah. I mean, and again, I'm not harping on the inclusion of anything like that, because like ultimately, like, with
exactly.
this,
like, we're arguing over semantics at this point.
Semantics over a universe that, as far as I can tell from what the CEO of Warner Brothers is saying, is dead in the water. Also, but I will say, where was this Jared Leto Joker in the David Ayer Suicide Squad? Because I preferred whatever this Joker was compared to what I got in Suicide Squad. I feel
like it's the same thing.
So when HBO or AT&T, because I guess they own all of it now, when they approached Zack Snyder and they were like, you can make your thing, you cannot film any new scenes. He put up his own money to film that entire scene and brought in Jared Leto and brought in Ben Affleck, which, obviously, like, Ben's not looking so good these days.
He's
got his reasons.
Ben, that's recovery Ben, because he's been in recovery.
Exactly.
Like, so he's lost a lot of the fullness in his face for that reason.
But, that might also work for the whole future thing. So it's whatever.
Yeah.
But I did think that was a very, like, like, the man is tied to the craft. He's tied to the story where he put up his own money and he filmed this. But I mean, it was a great scene. It was like, where was this Joker in the David Ayer version? And I think that's probably what I wanted to touch on is like the main takeaway from this movie, because I think people are going to see this movie and they're going to ask, well, why didn't we get this initially? And why didn't we get that initially? And why did we do this? And, like, a lot of people are going to blame Joss Whedon. But the thing is like, no director, no matter how much clout they have in Hollywood, like Joss Whedon or anyone, has the ability to tell how, like, executives of a company to F off. And so what we're seeing here is that this is a movie that's basically a camel. It's a horse that was created by a committee. So somebody at Warner Brothers saw Joss Whedon's cut and was like, well, this isn't going to get us to where we want to be to compete with Avengers. And they made Whedon make all of these cuts and make all of these decisions. And, like, even with like David Ayer, where these people are beholden to these executives at these movie studios to, like, do this and do that and create these cuts and create these edits and change the stories, and everything has to fit in this perfect box that's under 2 hours because the movie theaters say so. And that's why, like when I started with my whole thing where I was like, we're kind of entering a world now where movies are becoming dumber and TV is getting smarter. Because now we have, as we've seen on Disney Plus, with like WandaVision, where you can make what's essentially like a 3-hour movie that fully fleshes out a storyline that you could not tell in a theater, but you can still have the same like level of special effects and stuff like that. You just, because, you have it be like between 6 to 8 episodes. And it's so funny to see how movies are dying on the vine because of this antiquated formula, and how TV is starting to thrive. And now with the new deals where, because of COVID and the movie theaters being closed, like all of these studios are kind of like, well, do we even need the movie theaters? Like, can we just put this stuff out? Like, I'm really curious to see what the next few years of movies are going to be like, because I think these studios are going to find that it's cheaper and better for them to create the movie that, they or the director wants to make and put it out on like a streaming service or like video on demand or something where people pay like $30 to watch it than it ever would have been if they'd had to play along with the movie theaters. Like, I almost wonder if like going to the movies is going to become a thing of the past.
I think given how I can speak with Ryan and Brad on this, that we've never lost that that desire or drive to go.
I think blockbusters might get hurt, but like I think indie film like theaters might be the last haven for them to like get attention, because they'll get lost on streaming, right? Like,
yeah, because there's a lack of promotion on those. So,
and don't get me wrong, like I love the movie experience. Because, like, listen, I'm married. I have a daughter. Going to a movie is like my last bet. It's like going to the bathroom and locking the door. It's like my last bastion of like the place where I can escape everyone and be fucking quiet. Like it's like I go to that's why I love like Alamo Drafthouse. Like shameless plug. I go. I have a good drink before the movie, in like the bar. I go into the movie. I see the movie. I get some food. I get like maybe another.
Is Jesse breaking up for everyone else?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold on to those thoughts, Jesse.
The only thing I will say about that is you will never make as much money on movies like Black Widow going to streaming as you would in a theater. I mean, those movies are going to make $1 billion.
Couple drinks, like.
Keep going, Ryan. So, I'll text him.
Yeah, so I think there is a.
I'm sorry, I must have dropped. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I was so interested in what you're talking about. Now I can't remember where you broke off.
You broke off. You like to go to the Alamo and have a good drink, and that's when you stop.
Yeah. So exactly. So I like to have a good drink. Before the movie, I go to the little bar, and then I go into the movie and I order some food. I see the movie. I have like maybe another couple drinks, and it's like my own personal like spa day. Like as a man, like I have like my time away, and even if the movie sucks, like I still had like that time. So I mean, like the movie going experience will always have like a place, but I'm definitely seeing in the past year where like the movie going experience, it's like it's a double-edged sword. I don't think it's necessarily telling good stories. Like there will always be like popcorn films and whatever, but I think that in terms of what we've seen with some of the Marvel movies and even with this is like sometimes longer is better.
I mean, speaking as a person who's watched The Irishman now 10 times over the course of 2 years, yeah, I'd agree. But and I think that I do think that I feel like ultimately this is the one thing I want to say before I kind of close my thoughts on it is that a lot of the experience unfortunately felt very sad for me because it said when it's all said and done, the Snyder cut to me is a clear-cut example of the current regime of most studio chiefs, not all, but most, and their inability to understand how the medium works that they're handling. I don't think any of them have any comprehension about actual film production, physical film production, story development, etc. They are inheriting these as part of a bigger conglomerate. And I don't think that them releasing this cut is any actual form of justice for the Justice League because it's something that could have been avoided had they stuck to their guns. Regardless of how I feel about the Martha thing, I will say that I did enjoy that they were edging towards an alternative to Marvel in the fact that it was more of a harder edged, sorrowful, like gothic opera, and they got scared, they shook in their pants, and they reversed course based off of elements of Marvel movies that they didn't need to worry about because Marvel had been building up to this responsibly for years, and Warner Brothers and the people in charge of it then, and even the people in charge of it now, weren't thinking that clearly in that respect. So it's great that we have this cut, and I'm glad that Snyder got to fulfill his vision, regardless of how I feel about the thing as a whole. But it is unfortunate that it is another example of a studio not understanding how the product is made, considering the fact that the people who founded that studio absolutely knew how stories worked.
I only play devil's advocate on this, only because I'll wrap up my thing. Is this film had really big, serious pacing issues.
Amen to that.
I don't.
Yeah,
100%.
And Zach, what I'll say to you is, if I was a Warner Brothers and I put $350 million into making a movie, and you try to turn in a 4-hour movie that had stupid lines, pacing issues, you're trying to make something dark in a world where people have already kind of rejected your Batman Superman film.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to try to find something that works because you've put so much money into it, and you eventually you have to rein in the director and the storyteller too, because a lot of this film too, as Corinne touched on, is way like self-service to Zack Snyder, and like, look how cool this shot is of Batman standing over with a shot up in slow motion. Like, do you really need 15 shots of that? Do you really need every time the Flash runs is in super slow motion and it's really over? And the Cyborg story too is, I never connected with him. I didn't feel like any sympathy for him. I'm like, oh, cool. You're like a football star and you got in a car accident and now you're mad at your dad because he wasn't at the game. Cool. Like there's no, and I think Jesse touched on this a little earlier too. The way that Marvel movies work too is because they've earned that right.
Right.
The DC films, I don't think, have earned the right to have a 4-hour movie to tell the story that you're trying to tell.
Right. And I won't disagree, because I believe that Marvel did the responsible thing by building up to it.
And if you're a boss, you can't just let Zack Snyder run crazy, because
exactly.
I mean,
and Zack Snyder is known for like being a really great, visual cinematographer, but in terms of like, writing or creating a story, he's not so great. And that's the other thing that was weird to come to terms with, is like, this movie was visually better, and like there was a lot more fleshed out storylines. But as you said, Ryan, it's like the dialogue in the Joss Whedon version was snappier. It was more intelligent. And in this one, it's just like, sometimes characters say like really stupid lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not, and again, I think that it's fine, but I think the Nightmare epilogue is the best and the worst of who Zack Snyder is, because you have this thing where idea, but what's the point of having it in the movie?
Right.
Like, there's no point at all.
Because that was his ultimate goal. Because as we saw from, like, you know, when he directed Watchmen, and he even said in interviews, like, Zack Snyder hates superheroes. So he much prefers, like, anti-heroes or, like, this darker superhero. And that's kind of like the universe that he's going towards. And it just, he's been slowly edging this towards that darker future world. Like, that was the story he wanted to tell. Like, Zack Snyder basically wanted to make, like, Injustice, the video game, into a movie.
Yeah, I understand that too, but as a Superman fan, Jesse, would Superman ever go off the deep end like that?
Sure he would.
Yeah, 100%.
It's called the Justice Lords.
Exactly. Like, that's the greatest story that you can tell with Superman is you take the Boy Scout and you take that, you know, because, you know, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah. And that's the ultimate storyline that I think any Superman fan wants to see is you want to, so, you know, it's nice to see Superman getting cats out of trees and kissing babies or whatever, but it's much more interesting to see Superman where he's just like, fuck it.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about that, but I mean, do you really think as a character of who he is that he would like turn on everybody? I don't see that. And that's why I always had a problem with like the Superior Spider-Man storyline is I can't picture a world where Spider-Man is like this dark, brooding, evil dude, you know? And I just, to me, that just will never work with me with Superman. And I mean, I love the Injustice games. I love the storyline. I think it's interesting, but as far as Superman becoming like a henchman for Darkseid, I don't know. And also Batman teaming up with the Joker, I don't know about that either because it's just too much. But I did like when Batman said, "I'll fucking kill you" to the Joker. I thought that was sweet. But
that's right. When he was like, "When I kill you, and make no mistake, I will kill you." Yeah. You know, it's funny you said it because the Superior Spider-Man storyline, I think, is the greatest Spider-Man storyline that's been told in like decades.
Really, when he shoots and kills a dude, I'm like, come on.
Yeah. Well, no. First off, okay. No. So first off, that's not Spider-Man. It's Doc Ock.
I understand that.
Body. So
I understand that.
I know you understand. I'm not placating to you. I'm not trying to talk down to you, but I'm saying, like, for the purist, like, you have to understand, like, this isn't your Spider-Man. But I don't know, like, I feel like as a Superman fan, like, you know, I'm just gonna say this, like, Superman's boring. He's got all the powers. He's basically untouchable. And so I think, like, anytime you can take a Superman storyline, and you can shake it up, I mean, like, that's what people want to read. And,
I get that part too. I don't know. Sometimes I always have a problem when you strip away who their core character is. Because
I think it's okay to strip away the core character as long as you have like a good story about how they come back to it.
Sure. But my argument would always be, you know, in Spider-Man, when Gwen Stacy dies, Spider-Man has the opportunity to kill the Green Goblin, but he decides not to because that makes him no better than the Green Goblin. And so I always fall back on that to my ideal hero. And even if Lois Lane, I mean, I don't know how she dies in this world, but even if she dies, I have a hard time believing that Superman would team up with Darkseid to lay waste to humanity. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
From my understanding of where Snyder was supposed to go with this, because they also kind of touch on it in this, is that like Batman, like something happens with Batman where he like basically, you know, for lack of a better word, like moves out of the way and, you know, and lets Lois get killed because, you know, like even the Joker is like, all of this just because you couldn't die. And so the whole thing, you know, like with the Flash in Batman v Superman, where he's like, Lois is the key. And then we see in this one where he's like, yeah, I had like this dream. And they were like, oh, in terms of him coming back. And he was like, no, it was something else, something darker. So the whole story was that this was supposed to culminate in Batman having the realization that he has to sacrifice himself to stop this dark future from happening. And so he like gets in the way of it. But, you know, like anytime they want to turn Superman evil, they kill off Lois Lane, and that you know, is like the end goal of everything. But,
and the Justice League animated series, it was actually the Flash who died. And then
it was
Justice
the Flash's
League,
death.
The rest of the Justice League ended up becoming evil, and they were called the Justice Lords.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
I think the ultimate solution
like
to all these problems is just everyone go watch the Justice League animated series. It's way better than all this bullshit.
Watch some JLU.
Hells yeah.
You know, well, what's funny is, so that entire run of like the Justice Lords is actually based off of a Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely book called JLA Earth 2, which has these characters which are like the kind of evil versions in like an antimatter universe of the Justice League known as the Crime Syndicate. And that's an amazing book to read.
I love their All-Star Superman.
And Ryan, for the record, in the Superman animated series, there was an arc where Darkseid like kidnapped Superman or something and then brainwashed him into thinking that Superman was Darkseid's adopted son and that he was a conqueror. And it was pretty badass.
Yeah, that's like a very common theme. But I mean, like, I get where Ryan's coming from, where he's like, oh, you know, like this is a character that should be better. But the thing you have to realize is, like, for all of his power, like Superman is still like basically a man, and so, and that's part of the problem is it's basically like giving a gun to a 3-year-old. You know what I mean? Where like Superman, he can make bad decisions.
Sure. I mean, everybody can. It's just, I just don't know. I just have a hard time buying that he would be that evil. But, you know, it'll never happen. If they would have told a compelling story, then I'm always down for it. You know, I don't know. I just have a hard time believing that would set him off the deep end so bad that he would waste to humanity. Because if he really wanted to, I mean, Superman could kill everybody in the world. So,
yeah, I think from my understanding, the seduction Darkseid gives him is like order, where he's like, oh, well, if there was more order and there was more, you know, less free will, then no one would have to suffer the same tragedy you had to. You know, kind of thing where it's like any time you give up freedom for security, you soon find that you don't have either. And so that was my understanding, was that, you know, Darkseid kind of seduced him with the whole like, oh, if people didn't have free will, then this wouldn't be a thing. But again, this is all conjecture in terms of like things that like might have come from this film. So I don't want to go like too far down that rabbit hole, but you know, it is something they obviously like, they introduced, like they dropped that carrot where they were like, we could make some more. And Zack Snyder has definitely said, you know, especially after this came out, it seems to be trending so well, where he's like, I'd be willing to do more. And, you know, the fans are fervent. And so I think that's why today we had the thing where, you know, the WB execs were like, we're not making any more. And I'm like, yeah, until you guys need money, because you own some of the most like recognizable characters on the planet, and you're not doing anything with them.
Just make this Snyderverse, you know, cartoons, and then that'll be fine.
Exactly. Like they could have any sort of side hustle that they wanted to have. Like, I don't understand. And that's, I guess, like the big difference between Warner Brothers and Marvel is like, you know, and maybe it's all Kevin Feige, I don't know, is that like, you know, Feige fights for these characters and he fights for the directors and for the vision, and he makes the studio see the ultimate vision, and maybe like, you know, Warner Brothers doesn't have that because they're constantly being bought out by somebody else. But
plus too, I think like Warner Brothers has like, you know, we have a legacy of like, we make art, Oscar-winning pictures. You know, we have a, you know, Superman 78 is considered an AFI 100 movie, and, you know, Batman 89 was a blockbuster. There's like a legacy that they feel like, you know, they have to maintain a cinematic thing to it, whereas Marvel just was like, we're just going to put stuff out because we like it. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how is it that all their live action movies are, mediocre or decent at best, but all their animated stuff is pretty good?
Because the animated stuff they just put out.
Yeah, and they're not beholden to, huge budgets.
They're not. They're not under the same expectation.
Yeah.
So we should have lower expectations and give them less money?
I think you should have lower expectations for most art you ingest these days because it's always a crapshoot no matter what.
Yeah, well, the other problem too is that so again, going back to the Kevin Feige thing, is a lot of the DC animated stuff was great because it was helmed under Bruce Timm. Yep. And then a few years ago, they fired Bruce Timm. And I don't know if you've noticed, but all the DC animated stuff has sucked since.
Oh, yeah.
It has just gone really downhill really fast.
I hear Ryan and Brad talk about the more recent ones and their reception to it, and I'm like, it seems like it's changed. But I didn't realize they had fired Bruce Timm, so.
Yeah, they fired Bruce Timm back in 2013. And so everything that they put out since then has been without him. And honestly, I was watching them for a while and they've just been getting worse and worse. And I'm sure there's 2 or 3 that have come out that I didn't even bother watching because I was like, who cares?
I have fun with them.
Yeah, I think The Killing Joke was the first one I was like, oof. Why did... This is such an important title. Why did you do this to it? And then Batman Ninja is pretty, but it's just the story, I don't care. So.
Yep.
I also forgot to say, I know we're about to wrap up, but I didn't preface my review with I saw this movie in a theater, and despite its pacing problems and bad dialogue, it's still it was the fastest 4 hours I think I've ever sat through. It just flew by.
Exactly, because I remember you invited me to that theater, and I was like, oh no, man, this is a 4-hour movie. I got to be home where I can get a snack and get a drink and go to the bathroom. And I don't think I went to the bathroom once or got a snack. I watched that whole thing. I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I never took
the fastest 4 hours that went by.
Yeah, I never took an intermission. I over-ordered concessions and I didn't even finish my first popcorn bag, or I had a large soda that I didn't finish. It was just over. I was like, man, I wish there was more to this. So yeah, I hope it, and also it's in an IMAX format. I hope at some point, they do decide to actually put in theaters for other people to see, because I think it would be amazing.
We will see. Jesse, thanks for being on our show this week.
No, thanks for having me.
It was great to have you on and have DC expert on, where I know DC Comics, but no DC Comics. So thank you for that. Next week, I think we're seeing Nobody.
Hell yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
Or we do that and we review a bunch of Mr. Show episodes, because why not?
Yeah, I'm down.
Been reviewing Mr. Show episodes in this show for years.
Yeah, but we haven't done a definitive one, have we?
Just gone through all, I don't know, I think it's 50 of them.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
20.
down for it.
It's not that many at all. No, it's Nobody.
Yeah, so it'll be Nobody. Thanks again, Jesse. Thanks for everybody being on here. Have a nice night.
Bye.
And we live in a society. Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Drafthouse in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.